Good afternoon. Special guest here today. That is awesome. I couldn't have been any better surprise walking into the room than that right there. So thank you. All right, obviously, finished up the Oklahoma State game. I thought our players did a nice job of recovering, showing up, ready to work. Right now at Kansas, we're under a fall break, which gives us a unique opportunity to kind of recap the game on Sunday, but it gave us a chance to get back on the practice field on Monday, which is usually our players' day off. So had a productive practice yesterday, and we'll pick up today, tomorrow, and Thursday as well for Texas Tech prep and get ready to go. So players are ready, and it's all Texas Tech from here. So any questions?
Hey Clint, I know last week obviously a lot of changes just with personnel. Do you anticipate that continuing over the next few weeks, or did kind of the main mix it up happen in week one and it'll settle down maybe from here?
From this point on, I think it'd probably settle down a little bit. There won't be as drastic as changes of kids. We did move some guys in some new roles, and some guys stepped up in the last couple of weeks and played. We were fortunate. Last week Derek Neal, came along as a DB pretty good. We got some reps out of him. Ronnie Davis resurfaced in the secondary. Got some nice work out of Ronnie. Ended up playing 20-plus snaps in that game and performed well. Tyler Holmes went in, got first significant action at nose and did a nice job, which, gives us one more big body on the inside, which is, important for us to have with what we do. So on that side of the ball, it was, we got three guys, a lot more reps than they had, so that added some depth to us.
How long has the move for Neal been in the works, or why did it come about?
Well, it came about that, we're kind of hitting that Big 12 part of the season, and, you get into these teams at 4 and 5 wide, like what we're going to see this week, what we're going to see against Baylor and those type of teams, and just felt we needed a little bit more depth at DB. He was a young man who had, we had used already and hadn't redshirted, wasn't really factoring in on the offensive side of the ball, but a guy that is, extremely athletic and quick and fast, and played DB in high school and had some experience with it. So we moved him over there, took a look at him, and he's got some pretty natural skills.
Do you think he projects at that role long term, or is it maybe too easy, too soon to say?
I think probably too soon to say, but we are fortunate he's a versatile athlete. He has a bright future in the return game for sure, punts and kicks, because he does have such good quickness and vision, but I can see him doing a few things for us.
It's been a while since Kansas won on the road. Do you even address that, or do you just stick with the process?
Yeah, I don't. I'd like to talk to our guys that it's not that long-term stuff. It's day-to-day. It's taking care of whatever six inches in front of your face and getting that part of it done. And if you keep doing things right and keep doing them right over and over and over, then, usually success follows.
What concerns you most about Tech?
Well, they run an offensive system that can put you in some stressful positions as a defense on that side of the ball. They've done a nice job developing a system that creates space for their players. They have good athletes at wide receiver. They have a good athlete at running back. They run the ball as much as they throw it. Throwing is probably what they do best. But I think it's the space that they create, the way that they force you to defend the entire field. The quarterback makes really good decisions. They don't take sacks. They have a great system in recognizing pressures and blitzes, and the kid gets it out of his hands. It's hard to hit the quarterback, so they get the ball out. But offensively, they're pretty tough on that part of it.
Coach Kingsbury said that their biggest issue right now is not being able to finish games. I'm sure you've watched plenty of tape. Are you seeing the same thing from them? I mean, they seem to be kind of toe-to-toe with everybody except for at the end.
Yeah, in each of these games, you take their last game against West Virginia, right before the half, they drive all the way down there and end up throwing an interception, losing points. And then, at the end, that was a competitive game. Both teams were kind of going back and forth at the end. And, West Virginia came up with the drive after, they punted on that last one. Texas Tech had gotten down there close to scoring drive and chose to punt, I think, on a 4th and 3. But, I guess he knows better than I do what his team's got to do.
You talked about the 6-inch thing, and we worry about day-to-day, all that stuff. But if you could, when you took this thing over as the interim coach and kind of, I don't know, maybe you didn't do this, but did you think out in advance and how you wanted this thing to progress and this first couple of weeks, has it gone pretty much, as you had hoped it would? Obviously, you would have liked to win either of those games, but in terms of just that progress and moving forward and making those baby steps that you talked about, it's about how you saw it going?
Yeah, I when we did take it over, the first thing I felt that this team needed was an identity. We needed something, and that's what I said to our guys. What are we going to be known for? When people leave a stadium out there watching us play, what are they going to say about us? What is going to be the Kansas football identity? And I believe our players have bought into what we talked about. Are we there yet? No, we're still a long ways away. But in terms of creating a product on the field that we know each and every week is what Kansas football is going to represent, that's where we're headed, and that's the part of what I keep talking about, that when you leave, I want people to say those guys played extremely hard. There's zero quit in them. They're going to fight till the end of the game. They're going to be tough. Can't win football games without being physical and being tough. And at the same time, they look like they know what they're doing. They're smart. They don't beat themselves, and that's got to be our trademark.
The progress you want then?
We are seeing progress. I believe if you come to our practices, and we're still not urgent enough, but our practices, I feel our kids are understanding the importance of urgency more. It has to continue to improve. And I think on the field, we've been able to go out and, put back-to-back games where we played hard and got a little bit more physical this last game, and I think there's progress going on.
How did Michael grade out after the start on Saturday?
He did nice. We ended up naming him Offensive Player of the Game. Had some production on that. And I think the things that Mike did well is he made good decisions, made decisive decisions, had leadership amongst the offense. He's a competitive guy and was able to, one, by example, displaying the toughness that he displayed in the game, leading, and then also, Mike's not afraid to be vocal. So I thought he did a nice job.
I know you said this thing's a earn your spot every week competition type of thing in practice, but you've obviously got him atop the depth chart. Does it give you more, freedom or flexibility or just advantage to be able to work with him and maybe get some more things going offensively just because he's got this extra time and extra knowledge that, hey, I'm the guy now?
Yeah, I think obviously he'll be in there with the ones and going, and he's earned that right. I think the way he played and what he displayed, he earned the right to be the starter, and hopefully now he can start truly taking control of that offense.
Does it give John any advantages too? As far as just developing something with him, chemistry, whatever the word is.
Well, I think so. I think obviously Michael's skill set is different than maybe Montel's is a little bit, and the things that he does well, and vice versa. So obviously, they're gonna have a plan that takes advantage of what he does best.
But the production probably wasn't there that you were hoping for from Tony, but is that kind of the number of touches that you're hoping to get him heading in the right direction there at least?
Yeah, Tony, we do. We have to continue to find ways to get him the ball. He's one of those guys that can go the distance, and he plays. He's an explosive player. So he did. I think that number of touches is probably about where he should be, and we have to continue to do that. But I was also happy with what Coach Reagan did with getting our other guys. As Nick had his most touches of the Harwell. We got Jameis involved. So some of those other guys who are capable of making plays, we got the ball in their hands as well.
Was that a game plan thing, or was that a product of Michael executing better, or kind of all of the above? Or?
Well, I think it was a conscious, game plan decision on those, and obviously Michael had to go execute it. But yeah, when you look at your, every team we play, I look at it, and their best player seems to get the ball a lot, and their second best player gets the ball second most, and it just kind of makes sense that if you have good players, get them the ball, and our offensive coaches were able to come up with a plan to do that.
What have you thought about Michael Reynolds' progression this year and kind of stepping up a little bit as a senior?
He has. Michael's a talented guy. He's one of the guys on our team that does have the ability to rush the quarterback and win one-on-one matchups against offensive tackles in this league and get pressure on the QB. And it's critical that we do that because he's one of the we don't have a ton of just pure pass rush guys, and so his ability to get pressure, it changes a lot of things. If we can get pressure with four, it helps us in coverage and do things. So Michael stepping up's been big for us.
Yeah, is he one of those guys where you don't necessarily have to do anything defensively to get pressure? He can make plays on his own, and does that kind of, like you said, allow you to do more defensively?
Yeah, he has. This last game, his the two sacks that he ended up getting were really just effort and winning type sacks. He beat the guy over him.
Andrew Bolton coming along, making the adjustments.
He is. Andrew's starting to play a little bit. He's getting comfortable. He's playing a lot faster. His production hasn't showed up. I think he's got the most missed sacks on our team. He's getting there. He just kind of keeps getting the flyby going a little bit, which is that's progress. I'm happy that he's getting there. It's still disruptive, and I think he's missed 3 on the year. Which frustrates him, but he has. Bolton's doing good and improving every week.
Dexter healthy?
Yes, yeah, he's fine.
Everybody else, same thing too?
Yeah, we're knock on wood, staying pretty healthy.
Clint, did you get a chance after the game on Saturday to talk to any of your old teammates and some familiar faces that were there?
I did. That was pretty special to see some of those guys come back. Some I hadn't seen for several years. I hadn't seen my old college roommate Kwame Lassiter. I hadn't seen him since we were down in the Insight Bowl. He came over that day. That was the last time I'd seen him, and he hadn't been back. And I don't want to just call out one guy, but Kwame's, we kind of go back a little bit. And there was a lot of great faces, some real surprise guys that when they saw him after the game it's just good to see. You lose touch of those guys over the years, and for those guys to come back and support this team was pretty special.
Has any of that died down for you? I mean, you've obviously got your hands full coordinating the defense, being the head coach, trying to figure out a game plan for each week. But it seems like, whether it's just throughout the community or the KU Nation or whatever it is, the love and support for you just keeps coming. Has that died down? Have you been able to kind of put the blinders on and not really get into that too much, or is that hard to avoid? And what's your mentality with all that?
Well, my mentality is that it's about Kansas football, and I don't want to sound cliche, but it's about the young men in this program that commit so much of their time and effort and energy into representing Kansas football well, and it needs to always remain about the team, and that's what it is. It's for these players that do so much to have success, and it's to give them the best chance. So yeah, whatever, to stay focused on the task at hand. That's what we all have to do as professionals in this business.
It seems like you guys have struggled to run it a little bit the last couple of weeks. What are some things you guys can do better to get the run game going again?
I think the biggest thing, and Coach Reagan will probably emphasize it when you guys talk to him, is finishing blocks. We get a hat on a hat, and they're doing a nice job offensively of doing that, but we're not finishing. And we're playing against pretty good D linemen. You don't finish, they make plays, and I think the running backs are executing well and running hard and downhill. I think we just need to up front start to finish some people off.
Hey, Clint, going into the fourth quarter, the team gathered and everybody was jumping up and down, hollering and spraying water on each other. What was going through your mind? Or was there anything that you were thinking at that time?
Yeah, there was. The big thing that hit my thought is that was them. That was the players only. A coach didn't organize it. Someone didn't tell them to do it. It was the players going together on their own. And that's something that as we talked about earlier, the identity and what we talked about with these players is that, we are a team and nothing's more important than a team. And if we're ever going to be good, you guys are going to have to learn to play together and stay together and truly care about one another. And so to see those guys, when things got exciting, to group up on their own, get excited on their own and start to take some ownership, it kind of reinforced that some of the things we've been talking about maybe were starting to take place.
Some of the players have said that you've been running sprints with them at practice, even though you're not the fastest guy out there.
They said that?
Yes. A couple of them actually said that. And you've been chest bumping guys after they have a good play. Where does that youthful coaching come from, and how is that affecting the players?
I guess the real part of it is I haven't been able to work out at lunch anymore because I have these press conferences. So I figure I got to get it in at the end of practice. But no, a lot of times when they're going to run, feel like, we're all in it together. We all got to do it together. So it's just part of that philosophy of that. And the chest bumping and celebrating, I mean, you work really hard in this business to put those guys in position to have success and play. And when you see one of your guys have success, it just kind of becomes reaction. It's pretty. That's the fun part of it.
Have you ever worked here for a head coach who did that spread into the team?
Next.
Your secondary, they came in as a pretty known group. I mean, you had almost all of them back. Have they taken steps forward? I mean, it seems like Jacory's having an even better year than he did last year. And I mean, as a group, you knew what you were getting with them, but have they been a little better than you thought even?
I'm really where Jacory and Dexter are, definitely so. Jacory, I think, is putting together an all-conference type season. I think Dexter's right behind him. They've picked up. They've learned just so much in the a couple of years, and what we're doing defensively is helping them out, and they're able to take advantage of it. They're out there playing really well. I think Cassius and Isaiah, I still think there's better in them. I think they both do too. Not that they're playing bad, they're playing good. My expectations for both of those guys are a little bit higher than where they are. I think Jacory and Dexter are up there, and I'm happy with Cassius and Isaiah. They're unbelievable kids, work hard. I just really think that there's some special games in store for those guys. And then, the big surprise for us, the guys really come on is Fish, Smithson. I mean, that guy's playing equal reps out there, and he's a pretty good player.
Clint, you talk all the time about being physical or being tough. Why is that so important in the Big 12, or why is that so important for this team to have that?
Well, we play in a grown man conference, and there's guys in this conference who are playing for real. And if you can't match their intensity and their level of physicality, it gets ugly in a hurry, and you can't overcome it. Once a team can knock you around, knock you off the ball, do that, it doesn't matter what you do schematically. It doesn't matter anything else. Once a team beats you up, and there's guys in this conference that have the intent of doing that, and if you can't match it, you never have a chance.
What about Fish surprised you, or did he come in from the jump and starter? What's his process kind of been like?
He did from day one. The thing about Fish, he's a very instinctual football player. He's one of those guys that understands the game very well. He doesn't have to. He's a reaction, instinctual type player, and those are the best kind to have at safety, because a lot of that's what they do. They see things and they react, and so he's been pretty natural from the beginning. I think he's just got some God-given talents to play safety.
It seems like a lot of these guys, have really taken to you as a player's coach and as a guy they love because you've been in their shoes and all that stuff we've talked about a bunch of times. Do you start to see that? I mean, are you starting to see these guys, hey, so-and-so is kind of looking a little more comfortable or being more himself now? Or, I mean, do those things show up on an individual basis?
Yeah, I think it's important that these guys show up here and they understand that when they do show up, it's time to work, and that we're going to work extremely hard. But at the same time, they're going to be themselves, and they're going to let their personality show. And everyone has a different personality, and whatever that is, they need to be able to express that, because that's they're a guy that likes to talk, and that makes them play. Then they play. If they don't want to talk, they don't have to talk. But just letting them be themselves and giving them the freedom to do that, I think is important. And our kids are taking to it.
That has been one of the changes then, a little bit subtly anyway.
I think subtly. We try to create energy. We try to do a lot of things and create energy and enthusiasm. When we walk in this meeting room, it's never quiet. We always have music blaring, videos playing. There's always something going on. We try to everything we do, keep it going.